Should kids be on the internet? Is it good for their mental health, social health, and body image? What kind of legal protection do they have when it comes to privacy laws and copyright? The legal part is what we will talk about today. With Ryan being a top earning YouTuber, there are many such copycat content everywhere. As a parent and as a creative content creator, copyright and privacy laws intrigue me. But in India, are there any clear answers? You are listening to Dr. Amrita on the Health Wealth Bridge podcast. I am in conversation with Noor Anand Chawla, a lawyer by profession and a writer by passion. She is an alumni of St. Stephen's College and King's College of London with specialization in intellectual property law. She will break down the nitty-gritty of children's right to digital privacy, about a parent's role and how you can do it right. Or maybe you are doing it wrong. Let's listen to Noor now. Hi Noor, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Amrita. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and thank you very much for inviting me. So, I am a lawyer by profession, by training. I practiced at the Delhi High Court for about 3 to 4 years. And then I took a long break from going to High Court because my son was born. I wouldn't say that I've given up the legal profession because I still freelance as a lawyer. I do a lot of opinions, some contract work, but all from home, because with a little child at home, it's very difficult to devote time to going to court and also to take on the stresses of that job. So after I took a longish break, I decided to do something that I enjoyed, which was writing. Okay. And I began my blog, which was nooranandchavla.com.
And how I found you. Sorry for
Yes,
interrupting
exactly.
you.
No, absolutely. That's how we've connected, and I'm grateful for that. And yes, so I write on lifestyle topics. I don't write anything legal because that is a different part of my life. But so I write everything from travel to parenting to beauty and fashion and just reviews, food reviews, all of that. And in fact, now actually after the lockdown, a new career path has opened up for me because I have started writing lots and lots of different lifestyle columns for newspapers.
That's very
So
good.
I would say now I'm even a journalist, even though that was not ever on the cards before.
That's
But
very
I
good.
think I'm enjoying that more. Yeah, thank you.
That's very good.
Yeah, so I'm definitely enjoying that more. And I think because I've been writing so much for papers, I've been writing less on my blog, which is a bit unfortunate.
Not a
But yes,
problem.
so
I think you will make up soon.
yes, I hope so. But yes, this is about a little bit about me so far.
Like,
I live in Delhi for those
yeah.
that are interested to know.
And how old is your son?
Now he's going to be 5 in February.
Okay, so he's doing all the sorts of online schooling and stuff right now,
Yes.
right?
And
And
I'm
how
so
is he doing that?
involved with that.
Yeah, like we are all going crazy with too much of online schooling, I think, it is a boon and a bane at the same
Absolutely.
time. So, does he do social media? Like, is he on any kind of social media channels?
No, he's only 4. He doesn't
Okay,
even know what social media
that's
is.
very good. And so, does
Yeah.
he watch YouTube?
Yes, he does. He
Okay,
does watch certain videos on YouTube. I
okay,
won't say that he's completely devoid of any screen time,
okay,
but we are very selective about what he watches. And I think we've also really focused on, you know, sort of honing certain interests in him. So
okay,
he loves animals. So
okay.
we make sure that, we keep getting books. We have a huge library for him. I think he has more books than I do, I'll be very honest. And I think that has led to a love of wanting to know more about animals. So the kind of videos he watches on YouTube are all animal related. He
Okay.
wants to see baby cubs and this and that. So
That's
that kind
very
of a
good.
thing. Yeah. And somebody's always around. We never leave him with a
Yeah,
device.
because
That's just
the online world is even more dangerous than the offline world. We wouldn't want our children to walk alone on the streets, right? Like not when they are young and everything. Yes. So getting back to the topic, the main reason I contacted you is like there are lots of brands who want user generated content from mom bloggers like you, me, to share, how our kids interact with certain products, with certain apps, and how, like using their product. Like I have personally never been comfortable with sharing my kids, like, direct face or videos for paid or unpaid content. Now, have you been comfortable doing that, like using for, brands or your own work? Have you done that?
so. it's a very interesting question, and it has always been a bit of a trouble. I have had personal issues with it. I don't like doing it, but I have done it. So that's why I'm saying it's been a difficult issue for me also to grapple with. What has ended up happening is that I like the product. For example, I mean, I don't know if I should be naming brands, but I'll say it's a natural baby food product. Okay, I really like them. I genuinely buy their products. So even if they had not approached me to, like, I genuinely believe in them and want to recommend them. And obviously, if they're doing a campaign with me, a paid or unpaid campaign, they want the child because they want the audience to be able to connect with the product for children. And what will I do even as a model? I'm just the mother. So then it's a bit of a conundrum. I really want to promote them genuinely because I like the product, but I also don't want to put my child, as like right as a model.
It's a problem that way. It's an ethical problem.
I think what you've said, I try to make sure that it's not a full frontal shot. I never make him say anything, not even one dialogue. So like, because then he'd have to look into the camera. So it's literally like, okay, there's a photo of him eating it from the side, then he runs off. So it's like that. So that's how I move around it.
That's one way of getting around it. So do you ask him like, baby, do you want to do it? This is for this thing. Like, does he have a say in this? Like, does he have consent? Like, even though he is not the age of consent, like, does he have an opinion on this? Do you encourage that?
He does. So most often he just says, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, because my daughter, she will be like, when she's drawing stuff, even then she's like, this is not for your blog. Everything is not for the blog. You cannot be putting all my pictures on the blog. This is her artwork I'm talking about. Her picture, though, I cannot even click without a permission. So artwork also I have to take permission, because it's content. Like whatever we put out, it's content. So yes, so you are asking your child's permission. That's very good. Now I'll ask you the really tough questions. So what does the privacy law for minors in India cover? Does the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act in India really give children protection?
Not really, it doesn't. And I think, this kind of, like with many other laws that have been in place for a few years, it's kind of not keeping up with the technology, how fast it's changing, and I find that that's a problem across the board. So in fact, in 2019, December, a new bill has been tabled in the parliament, right? They've introduced it. It's called the I'll just tell you. I've written it down. Personal Data Protection Bill. Mm-hmm. And this is actually more geared towards the kind of, issues that we are grappling with as parents, as content creators, and wanting to put our children or not wanting to put our children, and also children themselves having this desire to be on social media. So this PDP bill is actually addressing that more than the other Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. That was more for things like, against pictures that contain nudity or other kind of, very direct involvement. Here, you're talking about data. Now, what we've seen, I don't know if you've seen the movie Social Dilemma.
No, I haven't.
Did you watch that on Netflix?
No.
Okay, so very interestingly, it talks about how all of these algorithms on social media play off of the data that we provide.
Yes.
So if a child, is looking at a certain kind of video, they will keep sending out that kind of video to him and even to the parents, because they know that that child is likely to interact with that video, right? Now, obviously, that is data. That's privacy data being collected, and that's very scary because, it can really just go from one thing to another, and it could potentially be really bad for us.
It could be used, It could be manipulated, it could be for multiple reasons,
Yes. So now this bill has been introduced last December in the parliament, and they're still deliberating on it. And from what I've read very recently, in November last month, in fact, they have decided to add a few more clauses and sort of talk about not just privacy of an individual, but also talk about larger data breaches, like political data breaches, this and that. And it's going to be a big bill. And I don't know when it will get passed as an act.
It's in the works. It's in the works. Okay, so we can look
and here
protection.
Yeah, very notably, actually, one thing that I must say, that they have a section that covers minors under the age of 18, which is the highest in the entire world.
No, that's the, I think there was a newspaper article and I read that, because in America, I think it's 13. And
Exactly.
that's where all the, the explicit contents on TikTok is allowed. It was allowed, and it shocked me. Like, those kind of things were being streamed on Twitter also, like, this TikTok star and everything.
Anything.
And such
Absolutely.
kids, even on Instagram, you will be shocked, because I don't know how they are making content like that and why they would be doing something like that. Kids, like,
Yeah.
how, like, why, how and why they would be doing that, and where are the parents? That's
Yeah.
the thing that was so
It is
worrying.
unfortunate.
It's very
It is very
unfortunate.
unfortunate.
And
Yeah.
the data is never gone. It's there somewhere in the archives, and you can just take it out, and somebody could use it to absolutely destroy lives. So that's
Yeah.
the reason I asked you. I thought Noor would be the right person, because you are into copyright law. I read, and I was like, okay, this is very interesting. I have a lot of questions. Now I'm interrupting you again, but I was like really wanting to know your viewpoint. Now tell me what you were going to say.
That's fine. Sorry, I was just saying that unfortunately, it's because it's still a bill and not an act at the moment. Even in India, it's 13 only. We are following Instagram's laws because Instagram is based in the US. So
Mm-hmm.
very unfortunate. But
Very
even
unfortunate.
now, yeah, so basically what the law in America states is that you have to take the consent of a child before using their picture, before using
Okay.
their data, and the consent can only be given 13 and above, right?
Okay.
So below that you have to take the parents consent, but our bill is saying that you have to take the consent of the parent till 18. So
Okay.
like, because they
That's
think
very
probably the
good.
parents are more, I mean, they will be
Aware,
more
most
knowledgeable,
likely.
more
Most
aware.
likely. That's
Exactly.
the thing. Most likely they will be more aware. Okay.
So we'll have
Uh,
to wait for this to
we'll have
become
to
an
wait.
actual law, hopefully
Okay.
soon.
That's very interesting. So, do you think parents are unintentionally violating their children's rights when they are giving, say, full frontal pictures of kids, making videos? Like, even Ryan has that YouTube channel, which is the largest, most viewed channel in YouTube, and they earned loads of money. And after that, there was a lot of backlash, and YouTube stopped letting people comment on kids video. There has been a lot of changes to YouTube policies for protection of kids also. So my question
Yes.
to you is, so do you think parents could be unintentionally, violating the children's privacy rights when they make them model stuff, as even, what shall I say, even film stars and influencers, and people like us?
So I think that's a very okay, I'll answer it from a purely legal perspective first
Yeah,
because that will
legally
be
I'm
easier.
asking you.
Yeah. So, as per the laws, parents are guardians and parents are totally responsible for the welfare of their children, for
Okay.
taking any and all decisions as to do with their children, and the law cannot say anything to them,
Okay.
right? So, I mean, imagine a situation like this, like just to give you a sort of comparison. Now, if a child grows up and blames his parents for his bad academic results because they put him in a bad school or
Okay.
in, not one of the better schools, can he then, you know can the parents be held responsible for that decision? No, they cannot, because it was,
Okay.
they took, what they thought was the best decision for their child.
Okay.
Also, of course, keeping in mind budget, lifestyle, this and that.
Okay.
Now here also the parent is the guardian, the parent is responsible. If
Okay.
something unfortunate happens, it is the parent's fault, but the law cannot blame, the child cannot one day get up and say that it's my parents' fault and I will come
Okay.
back to you. So till they are minors, they are allowed to take any decision, and if they want to put their child full face, full everything, they can
Okay.
make a separate Instagram page for them, which I have seen many people do. They earn money off of their 10-year-old children who are doing cute dances, and they get product endorsements and this and that. So yes, they are allowed to do that legally. There is nothing stopping them. Even with this new bill, when it becomes an act, there will be nothing stopping them, because that is not being addressed in this act.
Okay. Okay.
It's, I think personally, if I was to speak as a mother and as a content creator, I would say that people should now start waking up to the reality and the kind of harm perhaps that it is doing to the personalities of their children.
Yes.
I mean, if at 10 a person or a child thinks that, oh my god, I'm a celebrity and I'm a star,
Sure.
there's so many mental issues that they will grow up with in addition to all the
My God, it's shocking. Like, it's like the thing is actually could be very harmful. Even that's why I said unintentionally. Could they be harming? So
Yes, definitely harming, yes. But from a legal perspective, they cannot be held responsible.
okay, so
That's what I
legally
was
they are
trying.
safe. So legally
Legally,
they,
they are safe. They
because
are
why?
allowed to do it.
Yeah, because one I remember, you remember Amisha Patel. I'm naming a celebrity. I think she has sued her parents about some kind of work-related money issue. Like, that was very much in the news back then. I don't know what happened because generally people don't talk about what happens next, only the sensational part.
Actually, that is a very different case. So she was an adult.
Hmm.
And when you're an adult, you can sue anybody you want. You can
No,
even sue your
and
parents,
also
right?
the money part. Like when parents are earning money from kids' content, and as you said, till 13, the parents are the legal guardian, and then the 13-year-old kid could do that and could be earning money. So even money-wise, it's a difficult issue later on in life. Like it opens up a lot of gray areas. Like,
Yes, it does. Now, this is something that that our courts have never actually dealt with because,
yeah,
all of this is such recent
new.
behavior. So it's only when the child attains the age of 18 and then they feel, oh, my parents have been having all this money that I have been earning for my content. And then we may want to take it back.
Yes, yes,
So
exactly. Yeah.
we may see these kind of cases crop up in 5 to 6 years from now. But for at the moment, there is no precedent. So we
Okay.
can't say what the judges will
Okay.
rule. But
Okay. That's
in
very
India,
good.
we're a very conservative. In India, we're a very conservative society, especially the judges, is what I've seen personally. When I go to court, they always take the favor of the parents, is
Okay.
what I've seen.
Okay, I think
So
as
I don't
parents,
think
I'm going to be like, totally okay with
yeah,
that. I think
yeah, I think so
that's
too.
the right
Yeah,
way to be because we wouldn't
yeah,
want to harm our kids. Like, every parent in their own way want to build a resource for their kid, even if it's earning money. It's like it's going to be used for most likely the kids' education, the future, for
exactly.
as you said, like it could be for multiple reasons, for access to better care stuff. So yes,
Absolutely.
it helps.
And I
So
mean, after all, you are using that money, like you said, even the child's food, everything you
yeah.
are paying for, right? So
Yeah,
if the child then suddenly gets up and says, "Give me my money," like
that's what no. So it's going to be that's what I like. I was like, before all this, we never had this kind of issues. Like, so
exactly.
and these kind of like when I used to see content about children going viral, that kind of made me think because it's a way of also monitoring the citizen of the world when you have all your faces online like when the Hong Kong thing was going on, they used to pull their caps down over their forehead so that nobody could actually capture their faces. When people put faces on camera, they are actually digitally, making their fingerprints or footmarks. And even 30, 40 years down the line, some software can pick up their identity. It's very easy. It's totally possible. So it's a kind of, as I said, it's very confusing
Try to
areas
speak.
right now. Okay.
Yes, I'm really apologize for this sound in the background. It's my laptop. I can't help that. I'm
Oh, it's
terribly
okay.
sorry.
Okay. And, another question I have. Could
Yes.
adolescents unintentionally be harming their future career prospects when they share, as I said, Instagram, yeah, TikTok may, extremely explicit video content, adult content when they are maybe not in a job, but in the future they might be in a job, and all jobs now check the social profile of candidates. So could they be doing that? Could they actually harm their career prospects by having content like that?
Yes, definitely. And this again, I'm saying this just as a mother and as a content creator. They will definitely be harming their future career prospects. I mean, you've said it already. Everybody now, before interviewing prospective candidates, they do a full Google search. And even if you think you've been very smart about hiding whatever you were doing, it's going to like turn up. We have
Somewhere.
this digital footprint. Exactly. And I mean, I understand that many people, especially adolescents, they feel like, okay, this is my career path and I will be
Mm,
doing this for the rest of my life.
yes.
Not realizing that, I mean, if TikTok is gone, tomorrow
Yeah,
Instagram could be gone.
absolutely.
This may not be a viable career path 5 years later. There may be some new technologies and some
Yes.
new kind of thing coming up, right? So you have to keep that in mind. And it's very difficult to maneuver this whole digital world because there's so many aspects to it. but there's something which is in our control, that's keeping ourselves safe as far as possible, right? So
Yeah.
don't take that naked selfie and send it to your boyfriend over
Yeah.
DMs. Don't do that.
Yeah. Because
Why would you do that? It's
yeah,
something that you
the
have
problem.
control over. So you,
Yeah.
or even just putting provocative videos, wearing tiny little things, it is going to harm you, even if it's not about a job, opportunity or anything. You know how India is. We live in a traditional society after all,
True.
and I mean, there's a lot of different challenges that you will have to face in life if that's what you're doing. And I also find it strange, like you said, how do their parents not know? I mean, a lot of them have fake profiles. They pretend to be older than they are. And all of this is so easy to do online. And, especially if parents are not familiar with the internet or not comfortable, don't have their own devices, whatever. So somewhere we need to start this kind of educational process. Perhaps schools can do it, or parents should be initiated to
Yes.
tell them that you have to guide your children. After all, you are responsible for them. Tell them that, okay, this works, but this doesn't work. There have to be certain boundaries that you have to adhere to.
Yes. Only when you're confident that you can take responsibility for the kind of content you're putting out, and you actually have a career path which is not going to be harmed by whatever content you're putting, I think that's the kind of content everybody should be putting out. Like
Yes.
something which we can be proud to own. Like we don't have to use a fake name or a fake profile or a fake DP and not let anybody know. That's the kind of content we should own it. Like it's about body positivity, it's about making your own choices, it's about doing the right thing, but it's also about your future, which you just don't know how it can
Exactly.
be
And
affected.
it's also, I feel, when you're under the age of 18, you're at a very impressionable age. So you may think that, oh, I'm being body positive, but not realizing that, is that really it? Or is it peer pressure? It
Yeah.
could be, it
Why
could
do
just
we
be
need
that,
to?
okay,
Actually, we
yeah,
don't need to. Just
we
because
really
you
don't
have
need to.
a like whatever, like you don't need to. Like you do it if you have to. Like I don't know what, but yes,
No, I feel like when you reach a certain age and you feel like this is absolutely my own conscious decision,
hmm,
that's fine. But
yeah,
14, 15-year-olds,
yeah.
it
That's
cannot
the thing.
possibly be a conscious
Yeah,
decision.
actually, because 14 to 18, that's as you said, it is just too much. Like it's too serious when you're making a decision like that. It's not right. Now, the next question is, what are the international laws saying about the children's right to digital privacy? Any other, laws which should be looking at when India drafts or passes its bills or whatever in this regards, like something really good?
So there are I think many countries have their own ones. The main one is, of course, USA, which is the COPPA Act, or the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. That's where they have this 13-year,
Yeah.
bar to the age of consent. And in fact, even UK and EU have something called the GDPR, or the General
Hmm.
Data Protection Regulation, and that is also the same.
Yeah.
So if you want to put use children's data for anything, for marketing purposes, for anything, if you want to use children's photographs, if they're above the age of 13, they can give you consent to use it.
Okay.
And also that's why, for Instagram, Facebook, they have a sign up age. So if you're
Yeah.
below 13, you're not allowed to technically sign up, but obviously a lot of kids now
Nobody
fake their
checks,
age.
right? Nobody checks whether they are actually 13 or 14 or 15. That's what I've seen. Like,
No,
who
they really
checks?
don't.
I
Yeah,
have no
yeah.
idea
How
who
will they
checks.
check? So it's not like
Yeah.
they're telling them to upload their identity
Yeah,
card or
yeah,
something,
because
right?
that's what they should be doing. Okay, chalo, but that is also collecting data, as you said. Like, why give your
Exactly.
Aadhaar stuff to people? Like that has your fingerprints. Like, I don't know, criminals could be using it, steal your
Yeah.
identity, like become,
Yeah.
Noor Anand
They
Chawla
could
or
turn up
Dr.
at your
Amrita.
house tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they have your address, they have your phone
yeah,
number, they have your
yeah,
parents' phone number, they have
it's,
everything.
yeah,
They have
and
your
they could.
school, which is even more scary.
It's very scary. Yeah, that's the part which is very scary. School, and where you are going to work in the future, maybe. So you just don't know. And what brings down the line, what kind of families we get married into, nobody knows, right? Like you didn't want
Exactly.
to, totally hamper everything, because the
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of person we
definitely.
are when we are 18 and when we are 28 and 38 and 48 is not the same. So
Mm.
decisions have to be made carefully.
But even like, so in America and in UK and all, it's a slightly different society. So I think when they took this decision to keep it at 13, firstly, they had not anticipated this ever happening, right? These laws also date back 7 to 8 years. So it was different back then. China, for example, has the 14 as age of consent. So it's just 1 year.
China and TikTok, my God, like that is the one social media I actually did not even try. Like I generally get on all the social media. I like using, new social medias, but this was like, oh my God, that's really like, it's difficult to screen what's coming on your phone. And my daughter is taking up the phone. I don't want her to even look there. Like, it's dangerous. So it was, I think, maybe a good call to ban sometimes, Bura mat dekho, bura mat suno, bura mat socho and bolo is very important because it influences what we think. Like
Of course, and it influences the younger a lot, much more than it influences even us.
At least, it will influence. Like going through the Instagram feed, if I'm seeing weird stuff, it's like, oh no. Like, when you are in a line at the bank and you're looking at the Instagram feed and somebody aapke piche dekh raha hai, aap kya dekh rahe ho? You're like, oh no, I don't want this person to see what I'm seeing, right? Like, aapka feed kuch bhi aa sakta hai. You don't know what's going to be there. So, what kind of content, again, it's a little bit repetitive. We have already discussed it. Firbi, I'll ask you, what kind of kids content is okay for parents to share online publicly? Do you think? What kind of content they could do safely?
So I would say this would depend on one's sensibilities. I can't say. I feel like if I give an answer to this, it'll sound like I'm passing judgment.
No, I'm asking you as a lawyer. I'm asking you as a lawyer. Not as
legally there is nothing. There is no act or any provision, legal provision that lays out exactly what is allowed and what is not. There is nothing like that. There is no legal precedent either, which is previous cases. Nothing like that. It only says that a parent is responsible for the welfare of their child, right? And therefore, the data also belongs to, it's the responsibility of the parent to ensure that the data is not breached. Now, this is changing because people are realizing, even the people like our parliament, our politicians, they're all realizing that actually parents don't have control when children are sitting with devices. Parents don't have control, right? So that's why they're now trying to implement. Now, I think with this new bill, what they're trying to say is that firstly, there's going to be a body, a regulatory body, to ensure that if something goes wrong, you have some place to go to, a specialized court, to take up those cases, right? So that's one thing. The second thing, they're trying to put down strict rules of what is allowed and what isn't. So I don't know how they're planning to do this, because this is also, like you said, how will they do that? How can they ensure that it's somebody who's 13 and not 9, right?
Absolutely.
I don't know how they'll do it, but they're saying that they will. They're saying that, we will make sure that whoever, if a child is joining, there has to be a certain procedure to follow, and parents have to give their consent and this and that and whatever. So let's hope for the best. I would say as of now, there is nothing, no legal provision for it. And I do feel, just as a word of caution, that parents should be careful of whatever they are putting up, because there is no legal protection right now. They should be careful, that they shouldn't put children's photos that could be converted in compromising positions. Sometimes if it's like, even if there's a little girl who's sitting like this sweetly, there are a lot of perverts on the internet. We don't know what could happen with that photograph, right?
That conversation could go a long way. Like
exactly.
That is
I think parents just need to be careful of the kind of content that they're putting out, because right now they don't have legal protection. They themselves are the protection. So they have to be extra careful. And when this bill is passed, we will see, we will analyze it. Perhaps we can have another conversation after it comes into place.
Yeah, we could do that. And does the labor laws regarding children have something to do with all this digital work and everything?
Interestingly, no. It does not cover digital content creation.
Because
technically, you could.
Even in movies, they have duration of hours the kid could be working. I think something like that. Those things are there.
So that's technically, if it was to go to court, you could bring it under the law, right? Because the labor law has a definition of what constitutes a laborer, and what constitutes a laborer that is minor. And then again, when it's a minor laborer, then there's a number of hours and the kind of work, this and that. So you could technically say that it is covered. But again, it's something that's so subjective, because social media, how do you measure the number of hours, right? Okay, I was sitting at 2 a.m. and replying to comments on my daughter's post, for example, then then, like what hours? Was she doing the work? Was I doing the work? Am I the agent? Is she, my client?
It's
How
very
does it
gray.
work?
It's very gray.
Yeah, it is very gray, exactly. And there's no like strict law in place, not even under the Labor Act, that defines it as of now.
This is actually very interesting because all kids nowadays want to review product after seeing Ryan. Like, and parents are like, okay, it would be wonderful. Ryan ka 1/4 bhi mil jata. 1/4 kya? 1% bhi mil jata to bahut hota, because they have like huge turnovers. So, and people watch those channels mindlessly. Actually, the people are little kids who like watching little kids. And if, nowadays, so everything is online. So yes, I think it's a consumerism that's on the rise, and as parents, we have to take more care. So I think we have covered everything very beautifully. And going
Yes.
forward, once this bill is passed, maybe we will have another conversation about this.
Definitely, we should. I mean, they are in the process of actually, talking about it, discussing it in this winter session. So I think maybe in a couple of months we'll have some clarity on this bill particularly.
Okay.
And I would love to revisit it with you.
Yeah, and any parting comments? What what we should think going forward, creating content online to keep our privacy, as a focus. How to do that?
I would say that it's time for us all to, wake up to understand what social media is, and use it to our advantage, not let it take over our lives, which a lot of people are unfortunately doing, not just for themselves, but also for their children. It's like they let social media and the internet define who they are. And perhaps it's a quest for money, perhaps it's a quest for fame. We've got to understand that it cannot be like this, because things keep changing, especially technology wise. Things keep changing, and we cannot put all of our balls in one court and forget about the rest of the world. We still have to live in the rest of the world. So take an informed decision. If you must put your child in on the internet, be careful of how you're portraying them. Be careful of the kind of content that they are putting out. Be careful of also endorsing products, just for the sake of money. Don't do it. Make sure that, okay, there is some sort of relatability and some sort of believability. And so, yes, I would just say that, yes, as parents, the law is telling us that we are everything for the child. So then it is totally our responsibility, and we should take it that way.
On that note, as parents, we rock, and all of us, we want to take the right decision. Thank you so much, Noor, for being with me. And I will sign off now. Yeah, thank you so much once again.
You were listening to Noor Anand Chawla. You can find her on her blog, nooranandchawla.com, or on her Twitter or Instagram handle with the same name. You will find the link to her blog in the description box of the podcast. This was Dr. Amrita, and you were listening to the Health Well Bridge podcast.